Tonight, Big Brother wants to silence your cinematic professor. And Rex Reel returns. Cinematic class is about to begin. Your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, another sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, which is getting harder and harder to do. We have an awful lot to do tonight, so let's get right into the review, shall we? As you know, if you've been following my reviews online, I've been doing a rather deep dive into some of the movies that have been considered major award contenders. And tonight, we're going to do one on the show. This is Killers of the Flower Moon. All right, a lot to say about this. David Grann wrote a novel about greedy swindlers getting rich at the expense of Indians and their fellow townsfolk. Is it an interesting story? Yes. Yes, it is. Does it deserve to be a 3.5-hour movie? No, it certainly does not. But that is exactly what Martin Scorsese did. Honestly, the opening 44 minutes of this movie is nothing but virtue signaling about the plight of the poor Indians. You could eliminate that beginning 44 minutes, not hurt the story, and still the movie would be way too long to have any entertainment value. You know, there are way too many people who mistakenly think that every encounter between Indians and whites serves to demonstrate how noble the savages are and how cruel the whites are. Nothing could be further from the truth. Yet those who truly comprehend history are too often silenced for the narrative rather than the truth. Now, if you take this story and you fill your movie with stars like Leo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, Brendan Fraser, John Lithgow, and Jesse Plemons, well, you're bound to have some stellar performances. Fraser, Lithgow, and Plemons are all nominated for Best Supporting Actor considerations. They shouldn't be. They have cameo appearances only, and they're not in the film long enough to be considered supporting. The bottom line here is that Scorsese has roughly a 90-minute social political thriller with an all-star cast. And then he takes that and bloats it with 2 additional hours of erroneous social commentary and virtue signaling. It turns the film from thriller to lecture. I don't know about you, but I left college a long time ago.
Whose land is this?
My land.
Well, our war hero has arrived.
You made a good choice coming back here. Osage are the finest, wealthiest, and most beautiful people on God's earth. They outsmarted everybody.
They have the say. Who gets the oil?
Son, I got a question. You like women?
That's my weakness.
Well, we mix these families together, and that estate money flows the right direction. It'll come to us.
Shomikasi. That's how you are.
I don't know what you said, but it must have been Indian for handsome devil.
Why did you come here?
I work with my uncle.
You scared of him?
Oh, he's the nicest man in the world. The Osage.
Their time is over. We got to take back control of our home.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
We have so many deaths we've lost count.
There's just bad luck.
Seems more like an epidemic than bad luck to me.
Osage is dying by the enemy. Do not let them die alone.
Evil surrounds my heart.
You gotta pick a side.
I don't even know if you love me anymore.
Of course I love you.
And kill these men who killed my family.
Did your wife say who she was most afraid of?
Don't do something you're gonna regret for the rest of your life. I ain't got nothing but regret.
How about a good vampire movie? Alice and the Vampire Queen will not fit your bill. Writer and director David Lance has assembled a rather disposable vampire tale with the illusion of reference to Alice in Wonderland. Now, there's a horde of vampires led by Queen Isabella, who is played by Brennan Carnuccio. They lead the lifestyle of the rich and famous, utilizing sad sack humans as their familiars. Alice, who is played by Shelby Hightower, was once a high-profile chef until bad luck and trouble came her way. She is tapped by Charles, who is played by Graham Wolfe, to regain her former vida loca by serving the vampires. Hey, it's a mix of vampires and chefs that certainly doesn't work and would never, ever, ever make a series on the Food Network. There's a brief sequence in both the beginning of the movie and toward the movie's conclusion that tries to tie Alice's adventures with the vampires into the Lewis Carroll's tale of Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, but it's not strong enough to salvage this mess in any way, shape, or form. What Lance should have done is incorporated more of this analogy throughout the whole course of the film, or not being able to do that, he should maybe have included a number of topless scenes to make Alice and the Vampire Queen worth watching.
My employer's looking for a head chef for their restaurant.
I'm not head chef material.
It's real simple. I'll pay you $500 to cook a single dish.
You would make an excellent chef for our little club. I prefer to be civilized. Good taste is essential.
I'm still wrapping my head around the whole vampire thing.
So, Alice, should we head down the rabbit hole?
Seriously?
We were born in blood.
I just want to meet the Queen's new favorite mortal.
I'm so screwed.
Do you have any idea how many other lost souls would do anything to be in the position you're in?
You are in the hive. No one leaves. Knowledge is the only way you're going to survive this.
Survive?
Loyalty is rewarded. Disloyalty is punished.
You're going to be able to do this.
Do I have a choice?
You can either make the meal, or you can be the meal.
I present to you Chef Alice.
There's a whole lot more on tonight's show when Outtakes with Rex Reel continues right after this. Say, on the last show, I was looking rather shaggy, and I told you I was actually going to be a model and help Sam out as he instructs some of his folks in the fine sculptor or razor cut. And looking better, right? Of course, if Sam can do this for me, imagine what they can do. I worked with Tiana. Oh my God, this woman has such a light touch. It was probably one of the better haircuts I've ever had. So they're all going to be trained in this, and you're going to be able to get these Roffler sculptor cuts, razor cuts down there. They'll look great. But you know, the big news with Sam is it happens February 27th. Now, February 27th is National Cigar Day. Yeah, I didn't know either until Sam told me. And of course, not only is there the House of Fairuza Barbershop, but there's the House of Fairuza Cigar Lounge. And they're having a big night that night. It starts at 6 o'clock in the evening. They're going to have representatives there from various cigar companies who are going to come in with new cigars that are, fresh to the area. They're coming in with boxes and special packages and bundling deals. So if you're a cigar smoker, this is going to be, plus there's going to be libations there to kind of help you ease in to the hump day, which follows afterwards. This looks like a really good time. I know I'm going to be there, and I'll tell you why. We have a giant Outtakes with Rick's Real basket that we are actually going to raffle off during this celebration. There's an awful lot of goodies in that. So if you are a movie lover and you're a cigar lover and you like some fine libations as well, this is the night you want to be there at the House of Fairuza Cigar Lounge, located at the corner of Drake Road and South Park Road. It's Tuesday, February 27th. Festivities begin at 6 p.m. I will see you there. Welcome back to the show. We are going to start this edition of the Biz Buzz, and I'll tell you what, the news is not necessarily good. Documentary filmmaker Megan Smith experienced several of her friends and family members die of breast cancer. So she did some extensive research and created a documentary film concerning the latest research and treatment available to women for breast cancer. Now, I conducted an exclusive interview with Megan some 4 years ago when her documentary first came out. We discussed her findings and inspected some of the new techniques that are now available to women. The film was called Boobs: The War on Women's Breasts, and it went on to garner several awards. Well, just this past week, YouTube notified me that it removed the interview show because it violated their community standards. This after 4 years. They claimed the show disseminated misinformation contrary to what the World Health Organization recommends, and therefore represented a threat to the safety and well-being of the YouTube community. Folks, this is the type of censorship and propaganda that stole our election system and systematically lowers the intellectual prowess of our society. YouTube needs an enema. Now, this follows on the heels of YouTube blocking 2 of my in-depth reviews of movies considered top contenders for awards. That's Universal's The Holdovers and Disney's Poor Things. They did not think my reviews were favorable enough for their product, and so those reviews were yanked. Silence the purveyor of truth. That is their end game. Not good. Thankfully, you can find all 3 of those videos still in their entirety, uncensored and unedited, on the Outtakes with Rick's Real Rumble channel. You know, I find it rather chagrining that you need to depend on a social media site that originates out of Canada, of all places, for your freedom of speech. By the way, none of the information in that documentary has proven wrong. It's still being used widely by doctors today, some 4 years later after it was introduced. It's just, it didn't go with what the World Health Organization said, so you ain't allowed to hear about it. Bad stuff. And this guy's back in the news again. Everyone who I have talked to and saw the movie Godzilla Minus One loved the movie. What was not to love? It was a good movie. So I pushed hard for it to be included in the Critics' Choice Awards consideration for Best Picture. I hope you're sitting down when I tell you this. I was told that Godzilla Minus One did not meet qualifications for Best Picture because everyone in the movie was Japanese and there was no diversity. I kid you not. Also, none of the main characters were representative of the LGBTQ community, and there were no mixed-race couples. These, I was told, are essential qualifiers for Best Movie consideration. If you fell out of your chair, you had the same reaction I did. I thought it had something to do with sound and cinematography and script and acting. No, apparently it doesn't. And now maybe you understand a little bit better the selections that were made for this year's Oscars. Now, undaunted by this setback, I urge the CCA to consider Godzilla Minus One as Best Foreign Film. That has different rules, I guess. And on this one, they did, and they included it in their listing. However, those awards have been given out, and Godzilla Minus One did not win. It lost to a film that had diversity, had LGBTQ characters, and had mixed-race couples. Go figure. The fight goes on. Speaking of the fight, I'll tell you what, this is a little bit, I think, controversial. People are always on one side of the fence or another when it comes to these masks. It seems that the overwhelming majority of scientific information says that these masks really don't work and they're not good for anything. Okay, but still there are a lot of people who feel comfortable wearing them, especially in the winter season. And our major health organizations, at least here in Pittsburgh, have required them if you want any services. You must wear a mask going into the building. Rumors coming down the pipeline say that masks are going to make a resurgence somewhere around March and that they are going to be mandatory once again. Well, I certainly don't like wearing them. Probably most of you don't, but if you do have to wear a mask to gain entry to some place you want to be, wouldn't it be most excellent to wear the official Outtakes with Rex Real mask? Take a look at these bad boys, huh? Huh? Now there, your face is definitely saying something. It's not just saying, I'm wearing this because I might be a germ bag. No, you are making a bold statement for the purveyor of truth in movies. It's the official Outtakes with Rex Real face masks. They're available right now at the Redbubble store. Here's the URL for you. Get on there, check them all out. You're going to have a blast when you do it. You know what? It's that time. Time for us to crank up our time machine. Time to go back to the early Cretaceous period and check in with the nation's first and only prehistoric film critic, Rex Real. Netflix features a roaring series from Korea called Joseon Creature. It's filled with mad scientists, genetic monsters, and heroic businessmen. It's the Japanese versus Koreans versus monsters. 10 exciting episodes and a second season coming this summer.
지금 웅성병원 안에서는 끔찍한 일들이 벌어지고 있어요.
지금 내 코가 석자고 내 발등에 불 붙었거야 하는 사람이요.
도와주시겠어? 더 이상 억울한 죽음은 없었으면 좋겠어서.
당신하고 적이 되고 싶지 않아요. 우리는 아직 친구인가요?
狩りをやめないだろう。
早く。
약속 하나만 합시다.
죽지 마시오.
Midnight Peep Show, a chiller anthology with heavy sexual themes. 3 seductive stories that come to a rather banal conclusion. Worth a view if you are lying around the tar pits.
Black Rabbit. It's a dark web thing. Sexual fantasy website.
Fantasy can be dangerous. Just know where the line is.
Well, lines are there to be crossed.
I'm lost.
Bet you are.
Do you know anything about this Black Rabbit?
Give your body over to us, and you get paid.
Addictive, isn't it? We just want to see more.
This company is linked with all sorts of disappearances and deaths.
Oh, what's this? Who are these people?
I would like to remind all contestants that escape attempts will result in electrical punishment.
If we can't handle what we see, there's always a price to pay for looking.
Thank you, Rex. And I got to throw in a little note here for that Midnight Peep Show. The director of photography on that was Vince Knight. And I know you recognize that name because Vince Knight is part of Scott Jeffries' crew. And Lord knows he's one of my movie heroes. I talk about him a lot on the show. Scott Jeffries, that is. Okay. All right, we're getting fast out of time here, so let's try to wrap this bad boy up. The movie is called Memory, and I got to tell you, folks, this is definitely not my type of movie. It's actually not a narrative. It's more like a vignette. It has no real beginning, and it has no real conclusion to it either. Writer and director Michele Franco pieces together a tale of 2 incredibly damaged souls who happen to find themselves in a very troubled world. Could that be any more corny? It stars Jessica Chastain and Peter Skarsgård, so the performances are simply fine. But what is it with this Skarsgård clan? It seems every one of them have an affinity toward full frontal nudity. I don't know why. Now, one has dementia. The other is like E. Jean Carroll. She sees something sexual in everything and blames everyone for her bizarre sexual appetites. Now, watching these damaged people, who probably should be institutionalized, is not my idea of entertainment. And it's probably only the condescending 1% who could talk favorably about this movie. It is currently streaming on Mubi. Don't waste your time.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Raise a glass and toast to all of you beautiful people. Cheers, everyone!
Anna said there was a man outside.
He followed me home from the Woodbury event. Get away from the window. You all right?
It's amazing you didn't catch pneumonia.
Well, I haven't been sick in years.
You just got lost a minute ago.
No, I didn't get lost. Listen, I apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable the other night.
It's fine.
It's not fine.
My uncle
uncle talks about you a lot. My dad and I were maybe thinking you could care for him during the day. All you'd have to do is be there and go on walks and stuff. Why did you follow me home from the party? Or do you only remember when it's convenient?
I don't remember.
You don't know what you're doing. You're not able to make rational decisions right now.
Why did you leave?
Things were just getting complicated.
What do you mean?
Why did you and Mom stop talking?
When your mother was your age, she was out of control.
Not with me.
I'm having a really hard time.
Hi, welcome back. The usual for you?
Oh, yeah.
What's the usual?
I don't know.
You know,
No.
do you remember her?
No.
Well, we are fast out of time. Don't forget about National Cigar Day at the House of Fairuza Barbershop and Cigar Lounge. That's going to be on Tuesday, February 27th at 6 o'clock. I'll be sure to see you there. And don't forget about all the wonderful items in the official Outtakes with Rex Reel store on Redbubble. Now that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.